All right, so it's finally here. We commence and start the second part of this new season of Apothecary Diaries, and I gotta say, it seems like this next part might be more centered around Maomao and her friends. It doesn't look like it's just Maomao herself. Now we'll get into it a little bit more when we're discussing like the opening and the ending of the Apothecary Diaries, but from this one episode alone, this a good catapult episode to kind of get into some new mysteries that might be coming about. But overall, I will have to say that this episode was actually pretty good, and it's great to get back into Apothecary Diaries as new mysteries might be coming out that might be based on old mysteries as they continue. And of course, Maomao still remembers everything that happened between her and Jinshi. That definitely is making things a little perplexing as far as how their new relationship will be and will it blossom. Now let's get things started talking about this one episode. Now this episode, I think it was more of a setup episode, kind of getting things started with the new opening, new closing. I just gotta say, the two most sus people in this episode and this series, it's gotta be Lady Laolan and Shisui. Like, I feel like this is a recurring record that I keep talking about in almost every review, but I mean, it just seems like so much seems to be revolving around the orbit of these two characters. Thus the reason why I said, I believe in my last review, that maybe they might be the same character, and because they have the same color eyes, same color hair, and you never see them together. Of course, Lady Laolan has always been sus ever since she came into the show last season, because they never really talk about her. And then Shisui, they keep talking about or keep showing her as she ingratiates herself into the friendship of Maomao, that it's like, you are something weird. And even in this one episode, you see how Maomao keeps commenting like, wow, she's a lot smarter than I thought she is. Oh, wow, she knows so much. Like, there's just so much about her that it's like, why are you so suspicious? I don't understand. I don't understand why that's the case. But aside from those two, Maomao taking a look at the baths, checking out the baths, observing. I mean, they pretty much ended up being spies. It's like, oh yes, we go to the baths to make connections, all right? Over there trying to hear all the gossip. It's like, okay, what's the 411? What's everyone talking about? What's going on? And they hear a lot of things that are happening. And the fact that they said that there's a rumor that maybe Lady Laolan is pregnant, I'm like, that sounds fabricated to me. Because if you remember in the beginning of the episode, they showed Lady Laolan getting a message from somebody, and she's like, I see, and then they cut off. So it's like, I wonder if maybe she's not pregnant, but then they wanted to make a rumor, spread it around as if she was for a certain reason. So then that way she's isolated and they don't really see her. So then that way she could be Shisui? Nah, but I don't know. It's really interesting and it's really weird why they going about this. And we'll see what the actual connections between everyone is in future episodes. But as far as this one episode, I think it's pretty good. A good setup as we find out that there might be a ghost on the premise. So of course, Detective Maomao is on the case as she checks out, I believe there's a diamond pavilion of the 15-year-old concubine. I'm glad they still show this girl, and I'm glad that they're talking about her and what has happened to her. And honestly, I think the one thing I'm most happy about is that the Emperor died before he could touch her. Because, they touched about it, last season, where she came from, but they went in more detail here how she was selected at even a younger age for the Emperor, but then after his death went to the monastery, and then after the monastery went back to being a concubine. But of course, the current Emperor's like, yeah, I'm not, you're a little too young to touch. So thankfully, she's just kind of there for the ride. And we did see where people were taking advantage of her in the first season, but she seems to be a nice little girl, still a little, their little fear that they have of Maomao is pretty funny, but now they have a fear of a ghost. And so it's like, okay, let's check out this ghost. So I'm glad to see we'll probably get more details about Li Shu as they go into her pavilion and explore and find out what the deal is with this ghost. So let's take a look at the opening and closing that we have here, because I will have to say the opening closing did sound pretty nice, and having Miss Green Apple doing the opening, I think it's pretty nice. I think the more popular song that they've done in the past is for Fire Force. As I hear more, I think it's going to be even better and better. You know, Apothecary Diaries in and of itself is a great show, so to have it, even if you have like an adequate, okay opening, I think it will work out for it. Now, it seems that this theme has a lot of these masks going on, hiding the faces of different people, whether it's ones that we already know or ones that might be coming up in the future. I wonder how that's going to be incorporated into the actual show, whether or not if there's going to be a new custom, some type of dance that utilizes these masks in the actual show, or if it's just the fact that in the actual song itself, it talks about, you know, hiding and such, but I don't know Japanese, so I can't really translate the words. Now, it shows these characters here. Now, the one in the middle definitely is a new character. I have no idea who that is, because they had these little things on their fingers and like long iron nails. We know that this is Lady Luan and that's her father on the other side, but it's like, why are they hiding their faces? That's a little weird, but okay. And small comment that for whatever reason they're hiding the cat's face. Okay. Now this one is the new character that they did talk about a little bit in the episode, that there's a new attractive eunuch who it seems like he has an issue with his leg for some reason. Now, I am all over the fact that when they try to introduce new characters to the show, so it's like, okay, all right, how are they going to be incorporated and what are they going to do? They didn't really show too much of them this episode, but I'm sure as time goes on, we'll learn more and more about them, whether they're friend or foe or, you know, a setup for Maomao or Jinshi. Now this opening starts showing different pictures, flashing different pictures, and it seems like the pictures they're showing is stuff that either is going to happen in the future or stuff that's happened in the past. Like here, it shows like this circular mirror. Now, I did say my reaction with the whole ghost thing that's going to be happening, that it might just be, you know, they didn't realize that there's a mirror somewhere, and then they go into a room, and then it's like, oh no, there's a mirror, and or there's a ghost, and not knowing that it's the mirror that's reflecting them. So I don't know if this is a big reveal because of this, or if it's just, you know, something that happens in the future or the past. We shall see. Because this is something that they've shown in the past, where we saw the drawn picture of the Empress Dowager when she was younger. Now, this segment shows points of view from different characters around Maomao. And that's why I said that it seems to me that this new curve, this phase, is going to be centered around not only Maomao, but Maomao plus her friends. First, it was the three of them, where it was Maomao, Shisui, and then the other girl that's learning how to write, which is her. We see Maomao from her point of view at this moment in time. So it was pretty interesting that it's like, okay, so we're seeing different events that happen in the past of the show from the viewpoints of other people that are not Maomao. So it's like, why? You know, is it just a visual thing for the theme of the song and the show? Or is it something that's going to happen in the future that is a dawning point that we're going to remember all the stuff that happened in the past? Like maybe someone was spying on Maomao this whole time that we didn't know about. So it's really puzzling to me, but I don't know which it is. Like here is from Shisui's point of view, whenever she caught the bug on top of Maomao's head and it squished it, and then Maomao had to wash her hair. You know, that was earlier this season. So it's like little things like that. It's like, huh? And of course, this was like the episode before, Jenshi's point of view, when he's catching Maomao and they jump from the waterfall, which I think is actually pretty funny that they incorporated this, because you can literally see the fear of Maomao's eyes, like, oh my lord, what are you doing? And then here we're yet again in Shisui's point of view when they were at the bazaar and they both tried to select the same item. That was the flowers, that was kind of like the tea or whatever, the flowers that was in the bowl that would blossom in the fluid. Yeah, here it shows basically like like a nail, like something on someone's finger, which in we talked about at the beginning that there's someone with like two of them on their fingers that looks like they're connected with Lady Laolin. So I have no idea what's happening here. Now, this opening does incorporate a lot about butterflies. Like here is showing the metamorphosis between a butterfly. And I wonder if it has an illusion, like, is it alluding to the fact that like everything is happy-go-lucky right now, but something is going to blossom and change in the future? So I wonder if by now, the end of this season, if we're going to have something crazy happen to where it changes, whether Maomao or her friends, that it won't be the same as it was before. Thus the reason why I like something like this, where it shows her with a mask, and it's like, why these masks? Another thing is I noticed that they keep using this white background. Like they used it in the beginning, and then they use it here, like as if, I don't know, to show purity, or maybe to show the changing of the seasons, like to a winter type deal. But they have used the white background quite often in this opening for some reason, which, you know, we'll see how that is incorporated. Now, as customary in most openings, is when they show the full cast, you know, and how the cast is reflected on the main character. They did this even in the last opening, where from Maomao's point of view, she was seeing everyone, and they did a really good thing where they showed a mirror and showed we could see Maomao as she's saying hello to everyone. So it's like, okay, they keep incorporating this, which I think is actually pretty good. So that way we never forget even the side characters. And even here, like we see the old grandma, which the last time we saw her was when we learned about her past and how attractive she was when she was younger. But we see like different things like this guy that's over here that has been still in love with one of the actual courtesans, and the little girl that's over there on the side, now that one I don't remember, unless she was on the first few episodes where she was helping out the grandma, or she ends up being a new character. I don't remember, but she's actually like in the corner, so I don't know if she's going to be important or not. I'm sure at some point in this season we'll see Maomao go back to the grandma and check out the brothel and see what's going on. Because it was pretty funny how in this episode, how her friend was like, huh, do you have any connections, Maomao? And Maomao's thinking, yeah, kinda, but that's definitely not what you want, which was a funny part of this episode. Now, this one I think is pretty interesting because we see Lady Ah Duo, which is very weird that she's back. If you remember, Ah Duo technically is actually Jinshi's mother. She's the one that birthed Jinshi, but she was pushed aside and has actually been away for a good while, but she was pushed aside, and that's when Lady Laolin took her place. So the fact that she's even in this theme song makes me wonder, like, oh, are they gonna bring her back? The fact that she's with Lady Lishu, it's like, oh, is something gonna happen in next week's episode where they bring her back and then she's gonna be like a mentor to her or something? I think that would be a good connection, and it'd be pretty good to bring Ah Duo back into the series and actually make Jinshi a little happier. We learned in the first season he did have a little bit of a relationship with her, that like they would have drinks every now and then they had a drink before she actually left. Here it is, Maomao's father, and with a new character beside him, which I assume is like an advisor. If you look in the background, it looks like they're probably going to war or something, because they have the flag of their nation, and either there's a military training or something, and it would be the first time that we see him since the end of the first season, when we learned the history of Maomao's parents, and they kind of had a little happy ending. So I think it's funny how he has like little hearts coming, because now he's in that phase where he's really endearing and kind of is all over Maomao, like really loves her. And I did hate this guy. I think everyone hated this guy at the beginning of last season, but after what happened and we learned the history, kind of felt bad for him. So I think it'd be interesting to see him back again, and whomever this other character is beside him. I think it's sad that Lauman is just there. It's like everyone has all these characters around them, and then he's just there in front of the shack that Maomao grew up in. And it's like, dang, it comes full circle how she's in all these characters, and then we pan to Lauman, and he's even smarter than Maomao. You know, she feels that he's like her master, that, you know, she's learned so much just from him growing up. So I think it'd be good to see him again, because we've learned so much about the past is centered around him as well. And of course, you gotta show Jinshi, of course. And this is why I was wondering if this part or this curve is going to be more around her friends, because it ends the song with her going to her friends and like they're welcoming her. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. Like, all right. I wonder if it's going to be the trio that solves mysteries and showing more of Shisui as she kind of helps Maomao solve mysteries as well. And of course, finally, let's not forget the little hair brooch that she got from Jinshi all the way back, I believe, in the first season. So now that she's bringing it back, it's like, huh, why? The ending, I think, is pretty funny because it's like, oh, we see Maomao, she's a little tired. Oh, she's a little sleepy. You know, a long day. Oh, she kind of like nods her head. You know, she has to take a little afternoon nap. You know, it's just, you know, when you have a long day of solving crime and solving mysteries, you know, you kind of just have to lay down and take a little nap. Now here it kind of shows the friends, the trio yet again. And of course, different areas that they've been in and things we've seen in the past. Certain areas, it's like, okay, all right, you know, thanks for reminding us. Now, this next part, I think, is the most suspicious of everything else. Notice the angles and notice the way that the different characters are looking. Like we have Maomao thinking, contemplating. You know, we know Maomao, that's what she does. Then we have her friend, you know, over here, bright-eyed, you know, looking, you know, towards us, you know, like, oh, so optimistic, full of hope. And it's like, okay, all right, you know, she's innocent. And then we have Shisui. Why is she looking off to the side? Like at least Maomao's figure is like kind of looking towards us. And then of course her friend is looking directly towards us. But then Shisui's not even looking anywhere towards the actual camera. She's like looking towards the future. Like why is like, you know, why is she on a totally different tangent? Like this is actually something to contemplate. Like, do they incorporate her in this part and then she's not even looking close to where the other two characters are? She's like in a totally different ballpark and a totally different, like her mind's somewhere else. And it's like, well, that's a little weird. Okay. That's, as I yet again say, a little sus. Now this next part, I think is also another sus part because here it is showing everyone of the servants and such, but you notice that Maomao and her friend, they look at each other and it's like, okay, hey, you know, being friends, yeah, that's cute. But then after they are looking at each other and they, you know, greet each other, Shisui is still looking in a different direction than the rest of them. And then it's only later that Shisui's like, oh yeah, hey guys, you know, as if she's like trying to still incorporate herself into the friend group. When I first saw this, I was like, well, this to me looks a little suspicious because yet again, we have the two characters that are friends looking at each other, but then she comes in later and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, hey guys. And it's like, what do you do? What are you doing? Like, what does she do on the side that is like, that's not the same as the other two characters? Like she sees them greet each other first. And then she's like, oh, they're saying, hey, oh, hey, what's up? And then she starts to smile. And it's like, it just doesn't feel natural / normal. So that's why I'm like, why is she always so suspicious? And then of course it pans back to them, I guess, trying to wake Maomao up because she took that nap. So in conclusion, there's a lot that could basically go down this season, but because the opening and even the closing talks about Maomao and her friend group, it makes me feel like, okay, these other characters are probably going to be discussed and talked about more, I think, in this cur. And, you know, it's less just Maomao herself and probably more of the three of them. And maybe Maomao, as she's trying to solve mysteries, bounces ideas off them, or they accompany her to these different locations or places. So, and you see less of Jinshi in these areas. So it's like, I wonder if the whole issue with Jinshi or the things that happened in the last episode, if it makes Jinshi a little bit in the background while we focus more on some other characters. I have no idea, but this is basically the conclusions I just kind of just try to extrapolate from the opening closing to see if they've, you know, brought in any type of clues for us to kind of figure out, like, Regardless, great series, great opening, great closing, and we shall have to see if any of these things that we hypothesize will come true. I'm tired of beating a dead horse and stating that how Shisui is so suspicious, but I think you guys get the point by now. Anyway, make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new here. I greatly appreciate everyone that's been here. Thank you. And please stick around because we're going to have some more fun as we dissect all these episodes and see if we can find some conclusions ourselves. In the meantime, you guys be safe. Take care. And Lord willing, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.